Hey, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. It's 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. I hope you are doing okay out there. It has been an interesting winter storm, to say the least. You can see on the left there, we've got our temperatures and radar. And what we've seen in the last hour is we've seen a mix of freezing rain to just straight up rain. And now it's changing back to sleet and snow. And the reason that is happening is we're seeing the upper level low, which is off to the southwest. And we're likely going to see a burst of snow this evening start to move into the area. So just be prepared. I do expect that we're going to see a pretty heavy burst of snow on top of what we've seen already out there. Again, it's not going to be a huge accumulation, but this will likely be fluffier and more snow driven because the cold air in the mid levels in upper levels of the atmosphere, this is actually going to move up over us this evening. So even though the surface temperatures might be at or near the freezing mark, and they are in a lot of locations, what's actually going to happen is that the temperatures above us, that warm nose, which caused the huge amount of sleet and freezing rain, is actually going to start moving out, and we're going to see colder air aloft moving in from the south and west. So I'm actually seeing some really heavy and moderate snow reports coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, and you can see that little piece of energy. I'm going to zoom in on it here in a minute. Is down here over Atlanta and northeast Georgia. So let me grab my camera here. We'll zoom in. So you see these little bands developing, pushing up to the north and the east pretty quickly. So let's look at the water vapor loop. So this dry slot is kind of what shut off a lot of the precipitation here for a while, though it hasn't totally come to an end. It's been more misty or drizzly. This bowling ball type thing that we sometimes refer to it in meteorology is moving in from the south and west. So I'm just going to glance real quickly here on my other computer because I got a lot of surface obs coming in with this. And just to give you, bring my computer over here so I can see it. So let me give you a report of what I'm getting from the automated stations as well as people on the ground who are reporting to me. So right now I've got rain falling in Monroe, but I've got snow now back in Concord, snow back in Chester and Rock Hill. Charlotte Douglas is reporting sleet, but Gastonia, Lincolnton, Shelby, Salisbury, Statesville, Morganton, Hickory, Boone, and Jefferson, all the official reporting stations are all now back to snow. So that tells me that cold air aloft is moving in. The one thing I get a lot of questions, people say, it looks like the radar is not there. Remember, radar isn't infallible. And what I mean by that is radar is based on separate locations across the area, and they composite it together. So the radar beam oftentimes shoots higher in the sky as you get away from the radar site, especially snow, sleet, and freezing rain, like in this setup, doesn't show up really well on the radar. So the radar beam overshoots it. So in lieu of that, what you look at is surface reports. And I will just give you an example here because I had someone ask a really good question on Twitter. They were looking on their app, or I don't know if they were looking on our app or someone else's app, and said, but it looks like it's drying out on the radar. And if you look at the radar, it does, but you just can't look at the radar. You got to look at the satellite and surface observations. So for instance, doesn't look like much is going on here, right? Well, Greenville-Spartanburg is reporting snow. Chester is reporting snow, and so is Rock Hill Airport, as well as down here, the Greenwood area is reporting snow. So even though there's nothing showing up on the radar, we're getting snow, which means the snow is forming below the radar beam. So that's why surface observations, humans actually reporting stuff is really important. It's kind of like models. You just can't rely on automation. You got to rely on all the tools. And in this case, we're going to rely on that because it's going to help us out. So through the rest of the evening, let's look at what we're expecting because the temperatures here are going to become very, very crucial. When I drove in, it was not the best drive in the world. In fact, I was somewhat surprised the interstates were still as slushy as they were because there was one clear lane, but most of the lanes were still full of slush. And it's that thick, heavy slush that even though it's wet, you put your tire into it, it yanks your tire up. It's like driving in mud. So it's really slick out there. But there was also a ton of water. And I immediately thought, man, when these temperatures drop below freezing this evening, we're going to have some serious ice out there. So let's look at the future cast. I put temperatures and radar on there. I expect a burst of snow, probably more scattered snow showers than anything. But I want you to watch the temperatures. Once the sun goes down, most areas, the temperature is going to fall pretty quickly. And you can see by 7, 8 o'clock, we're in the upper 20s to about 30 degrees. So all that moisture out there, the slush, the sleet, the snow, whatever you saw today, and we saw pretty much everything across the area, it's going to freeze up. And you can see temperatures plummeting into the upper 20s and even low and mid 20s. And where there's snow on the ground, it's likely going to be even colder because snow cover keeps the temperature even colder to irradiate a little bit of warmth. We get kind of a weird west-southwest wind, which is normally warm, but that's cold air coming from that direction this go around because of the dip in the jet stream. So by midnight, you see most areas are in the low to mid 20s, and that's going to keep temperatures very, very chilly and probably refreeze a lot of stuff out there. So just be very cautious, even as stuff slows down. I'm seeing a lot of reports of people saying things have slowed down or whatever. That's true. For the most part, things are slowing down. But the problem now is the refreeze. That is going to be the issue. We're going to see a pretty significant refreeze as we go into the overnight hours. And with the burst of snow that's coming in, or even snow showers, they may be more the fluffy kind of snow, which will lay on top of the sleet and ice we've already gotten. So let me go further into the overnight hours, and we'll go past midnight, getting into the wee hours of the morning. You see temperatures kind of hovering in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. And I expect a lot of refreezing going on. Now in the mountains, you're going to see additional snow, especially towards the Tennessee line, because the northwest winds are going to begin to pick back up, and we're going to see a lot more of that snow moving into the area. So that's going to set the stage for a pretty significant refreeze. Thanks for the reports, by the way. These really do help. During the day today, it was really nice of all you to post, what you're seeing at what time and location, because it was meteorologically, it was fascinating to see how we went from heavy sleet to freezing rain and rain really quickly. And now this evening, I'm kind of shocked just to see how quickly we're going back to sleet and snow across the area. So you can see by tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., it's pretty cold out there. We probably will not get back above freezing until the middle of the day tomorrow. So that's going to set the stage for a pretty icy Monday morning. So I would just say roads are probably going to be pretty bad through the middle of Monday. They should be slow improvement, but I bet a lot of neighborhood roads are going to be pretty icy into Tuesday morning, maybe even Wednesday morning, because we're likely going to drop down into the teens the next couple of nights. So how did we do on the forecast? I updated our snow totals map. This is not the forecast. This is based on what we've seen so far. I just tweeted and posted on Facebook this map, as well as a link to the individual reports we've gotten so far. The biggest thing I've noticed, and let me play this real quickly so I can grab my cursor, is that we've seen a little bit over performance, we like to say, or a little bit higher totals in this area from Shelby to Gastonia to Lincolnton, Statesville, and Salisbury, more in the 2 to 4 inch range. And we initially had 1 to 2 across Mecklenburg County. It's been more like 1 to 4 across the county. And then back here in the foothills, this overperformed a little bit, 4 to 8, mainly because it started as snow and stayed snow much longer before the sleet mixed in and even some freezing rain. And that allowed for the snow totals to fluff up. Snow totals can get really big quickly because they're 90% air. So that's what I mean by fluffing them up. Sleet and rain uses up the moisture, but doesn't accumulate much. And then in the mountains, 8 to 14, we're probably going to surpass 14 in some locations with that northwest flow on the backside. So that's kind of what I've seen so far. We'll go in a little bit closer just to show you some of the totals we've seen. And that's kind of what I've seen. The oddest report I got, and I don't know if it's legit, is down here in southwestern Union County of 2 inches. I don't know if that was a mismeasurement, but I live north of there by about 20 minutes, and I only had like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of sleet. So there might have just been a little burst in there. And again, if you're curious about how to measure snow or sleet, if you don't have a snowboard, which is what most people do, and I'm not talking about the one you get on and take to the mountains. I'm talking about a piece of wood that you allow snow to build up on, and you measure it every hour, 2, 3, 4 hours at some increment, clear it off, and go back out and measure it again and add up the totals. That's usually how we do it. But the easy way to do it without that is go out into your yard or on the pavement or somewhere where the snow is accumulated and hasn't been disturbed, and measure in 3 separate locations, add them up and divide by 3, and you get an average. So that's usually the best way to kind of do it and get an average snowfall for your area. And that's kind of the easy way to go back and look at how much snow we had. So that's kind of what we're expecting this evening. Let me show you real quickly the forecast here. Been working on it here for a while. as we go through tomorrow, this is kind of what we're expecting tomorrow afternoon for a high temperature. And again, I hope we get back to 40, but we could struggle most of the day in the 30s. So it'll be a pretty chilly Monday overall. And then we got to start turning our attention long range, because I'm already getting questions about this in the long range, that we could see another system develop by the end of the week. So you see the system there. That's today's system, moves out. Now, we're going to broad stroke this just to give you an idea. A quick moving system on Thursday pushes another surge of cold air in place. And the reason this is important, just like we saw this week, we had a system come in on Thursday before the system to help cool down the atmosphere. In this case, this surge of cooler air is going to be in place. So look at the airflow here. It's pretty easy to see that we've got wind straight out of the north here. And that flow out of the north is basically cold, dry, Arctic air moving in. And anytime you want to see winter weather, and if you primarily want to see snow, you got to establish the cold air first. So anytime you see anybody posting stuff where the cold air and moisture arrive at the same time, it's usually not a good setup. You need to get the cold air in here first. So this is a setup where on Thursday into Friday, we've got that moisture moving in, and we've already got the cold air in place. Now let's go into the future, and you'll see a system trying to develop on Saturday into Sunday. So depending on how this unfolds, the timing of this looks either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So sometime in that time frame. And that's why there's still some question marks about the actual low pressure system or where it tracks. But you can see with that setup, that would probably most likely be a better setup for snow and sleet than freezing rain. But again, it's a little too early to get into that. And one of the things that I show often is our forecasting rules here. And I'll show you real quickly, because as we get closer to the weekend, I'll put the time frame that we're in. I got to delete that real quick. We'll show you the time frame. My winter weather forecasting rules, which I live by, and why you don't see me put out crazy totals 7 to 10 days out, is the first thing you look at is pattern recognition. And right now that is locked in. So I can safely say that we are in a favorable pattern for more wintry weather. And then 5 to 7 days out, you start looking, is the chance of winter weather trending up or down? And then 3 to 5 days out, which, we're getting close to that. We're kind of in between those two right now. Timing and type of storm. Is it snow, sleet, or ice? And then within 1 or 3 days, you start deciding about amounts, locations, and timing. So you'll never see me put out a snowfall amount map or ice map until 1 to 3 days, because that's just the skill level that we have in the information. But I will tell you for sure, we've got the pattern in place. It is a chilly pattern, big trough in the east, active storm track. So potentially we could see this trend towards another snow or sleet event. The question marks I would have right now is the fact that we don't know the track of that low pressure system. So that's the big caveat right now, but we've got time to get to that. Some great questions coming up. A lot of folks excited that we dodged the big ice threat. We did dodge it for most of us. We did in the Charlotte area and many areas just to the south, but there has been an area that was hit particularly hard. And I don't want to discount them, because there's a lot of people without power right now. And that includes areas out towards the Sandhills, down here into the Midlands of South Carolina, just north of Columbia. I'm kind of circling the area that had the worst icing. It was right in here. In fact, I think between the two Carolinas, I posted earlier. Let me look real quick. I just posted it. So in North Carolina, we've got about 90,000 people without power, and in South Carolina, about 75,000. And primarily that's confined to the Sandhills and the Northern Midlands and some parts of the upstate. The closest worst ice, I should say, to us in the Charlotte area was down in the Pageland, Jefferson, South Carolina area, which is down here between Monroe and Lancaster, about a half an inch of ice along Highway 9 down there in Lancaster and Chesterfield. So there was some ice, but thank goodness it stayed further south. The sleet won out. And you remember I said the last couple of days, you want to root for sleet? Boy, thank goodness it was sleet because it won out. But we will go through the overnight hours, get ready for a refreeze. The threat for freezing rain has passed us now. That's the good news. So the freezing rain threat for damage to power lines, tree limbs, and stuff has pretty much passed. But what we're watching now tonight is an additional burst of snow as this upper low moves in from the west, southwest, and then we'll see the refreeze tonight. So that's going to be the next thing to watch for tonight. Where does that little swirl there? You see it between Atlanta and Augusta, Georgia. That thing's going to swing right up into the Midlands, through the upstate, and then into the Piedmont of North Carolina. And that will likely bring an additional burst of snow, likely very fluffy snow. And then we'll see temperatures fall into the mid and upper 20s tonight. And that's going to cause a refreeze. So don't let your guard down. Stuff might not be falling from the sky later tonight, but things on the ground will be freezing up. And that's going to make for a rough start to your Monday. I'll look through the questions real quickly here, wrap up, and then get back to working on the 6 o'clock. I know we've got football on tonight after us. There's football on other networks. It's been a big day of football. Is there a high chance of power outages, Christine? Not now. That power outage threat has passed us because it stayed mostly sleet. But we will have a special 1 hour newscast tonight from 6 to 7 before the football game. Now, no thunder now possibly because we're losing some of the warmth at the low levels, even though the upper level is coming in. But that's a good question. We did have some thunder sleet near the Asheville area, which was pretty cool. So people over there saw that. How much inches in Charlotte at this time, y'all? Right now, it looks like an inch. I'm waiting for that to be official. The airport at one point today had 0.8 of an inch. I think we did make it to an inch. And if we make it to an inch, that is the first 1 inch snowfall in Charlotte since December 9th, 2018. So that would be pretty cool. Thanks, Amanda. Maiden is back to snow. That is great. Boone, you got more snow on the way. Great question. With this system, as it moves through the upper low, will bring snow, but then northwest flow snow will develop tonight into Monday. So we could see snow continue into Monday afternoon. So folks in the mountains, be ready. There's going to be more snow possibly up there in the mountains. It looks like we're bringing up the resort cams. So that's a look at Boone right now. Hey, we got a plow truck going through right the middle. He's plowing the snow and the bars. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Looks like a winter wonderland up there right now. That is pretty amazing. Are you announcing delays or close for tomorrow? They will be at the bottom of the screen during the newscast and tomorrow morning. The good news is tomorrow, a lot of places were already closed, especially schools, because it's Martin Luther King Day. So there was a lot of closures already. And the fact that today was Sunday probably saved us a lot more accidents and issues. I was really happy to see a lot of churches be very proactive and cancel services or go virtual. And that really helped to keep a lot of people off the roads. If this was a regular Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, with people back in school and work, I think we would have had massive car accidents and stuff going on. So I think we lucked out. Anyone flying or have any friends flying, please call the airport and call your airline, because I know thousands of flights have been canceled. Basically, American Airlines moved all their planes out of Charlotte so they didn't get iced up and stuck here, and moved them to other locations. So that is one thing that's probably going to be a lingering issue for a while. Thanks for putting those in there. We got our closings on there. And you can see the bottom of the screen there, our winter storm impacts. We're going to have the latest coming up at 6. It's going to be an hour-long special on WCNC and WCNC.com. One thing I know people always say, hey, I don't watch TV, or I can't get you. That's a great thing about 2022. Grab your phone, grab the WCNC Charlotte app. You can stream all of our newscasts anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet access, or a cellular service signal, or you can go to our website and watch them. So you don't have to get our channel. You don't have to have DirecTV. You don't have to have over the air. You don't have anything. You can just watch us live. And actually, to me, that's one of my favorite features of our app, because when I'm away from my TV or I'm on the road or whatever, I can pull up the latest newscast and watch it right there on my phone. The good news, everybody, hey, we dodged a significant ice storm. We really did. The bad news is the roads are horrible. We knew that was going to be the trade-off. If we got heavy sleet, that was going to make the roads horrible, but it was going to keep the freezing rain away. So I don't know about you, because it's a Sunday and everyone's home and there's football on, and tomorrow's a holiday. Probably was the best thing to get to sleep, because we can just stay at home for a day and a half and not worry about the freezing rain. So hope everybody has a great night. I'll see you tonight at 6 o'clock. We'll wrap up the stream. And of course, I will post maybe a last minute vlog tonight. And trust me, I will keep you up to date this week about the upcoming system. I will likely try to take one day off and get some sleep tomorrow, but we'll be right back at it this week and get you ready for the next storm as we get into a very active pattern here for the Southeast and the Carolinas. It is a completely different pattern than what we had back in December, which was crazy. So have a great night, everybody. I'll see you later.